different offerings, different ways that companies can push products out and services out. We say there's product lines, right? There's product depth. Right? We say product depth is how you, yes?
I don't mean to interrupt, but would we be able to present? Would we be able to present that?
Oh, because you gotta get out of here. But,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I totally forgot. All right, group one is gonna go first, and then we'll finish up the public lecture. They have to get.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. You gotta get out of here. See if I can turn those lights off so we can see.
What's available?
Let me see if I can dim those lights. All right, look at Victory Sports Club.
So the company that we decided to do is Victory Sports Club. Victory Sports Club was founded in May of 2024. It specializes in baseball and softball. Victory Sports Club offers catering tools, personalized coaching, and individual performance. Sorry, and individual performance training to help you improve your game and whatever you offer.
Mr. Statement is, welcome to Victory Sports Club, where we love baseball, softball, and study and train. There's a premier indoor training facility, expert coaching, and kind of like a smaller community field. Whether you're a beginner looking to learn the basics, or if there's some that's playing football in mind, it's a great place to elevate your skills and your game. And the last statement is get ready to step up to the plate and take it to those records and next up.
Alright, so as we get into the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, some of the big strengths would be the facilities that they offer. You have weight room in-house, and you have 2 cages along with their office space, which is like, it's kind of like on the second level. They have a elevated space for their office where they do all their calendars and all the meetings and stuff. And then below you have your training space, so it's like all in one. Second strength would be the expert coaching staff. You have 5 guys who have played Division I baseball as well as business owners. So they kind of bring a multifaceted aspect to not only the business but the training aspect. And then lastly, for strengths, we have the comprehensive training options. You can not only rent a cage and do things on your own or with, with a buddy or whatever, but you can also get one-on-one training, group training, bring in teams, as well as utilize weight rooms, cages, and different training aspects. Then we get into the weaknesses. The first one would be limited space. So there's only you have like 2 tunnels, 2 cages. So usually when you get into a baseball, softball facility, you want to have like 5-ish. It just offers more space and more compatibility for like a team setting. So that would be the only thing, but obviously they're working with what they have, the space that they have. Second would be the niche focus. So it's kind of hard when you have limited space to like utilize the facility for other things, whether that be like, if you have like a yoga class in there, utilize the nice turf or gym space. So they kind of make do with what they have. When we get into opportunities, one, we have community engagement. So having trainers that have played at the Division I level and stuff, they have good connections. So we actually participated in a community engagement with them. It was Rawlings Demo Day. So they have a representative from Rawlings come in, bring in all the new bats, gloves, and it's kind of like a free, just people can come in, try them out, buy things, order things. So that's definitely big when you facility, but also have an opportunity to buy things. Partnership with local organizations. So this kind of goes along with the Play Against Sports that they have at the front end of the store. That's kind of a way people can come in the door and see the facility. That goes along with like demo days. So other local organizations or some kind of, maybe you could do, like we were thinking about, like you always see people do partnerships with like restaurants where like 15% of the revenue goes back to the team or whatever. So they could kind of mix in. That's something we've got to think about more. Then when we get to threats, we have large facilities, economic factors, and then the seasonal demand. With baseball and softball being outside in the summer and the spring, you kind of lose a little bit of the training aspect because teams are outside, you have travel organizations in the summer, so it kind of maybe diminishes how many people you can get in through the door. And then larger facilities, obviously, if you have a larger facility, you can offer more machines, more space, and that might be like a better option for a whole team, so that could be a whole factor as well.
So we have a few marketing goals and objectives. The first would be to increase brand awareness. This would help establish Victory Sports Club as like a premier training facility in River Forest and the surrounding areas. So we want to like make a name for them upon opening. The second is to boost membership and program enrollment. Obviously we want a lot of customers and a lot of kids coming to the trainings. So to grow the number of members and increase the signups for training programs would be phenomenal. Thirdly, we would like to enhance customer engagement and build relationships with the athletes and the parents and the coaches through either like social media or email marketing or like other community events. Fourth, we would like to expand partnerships, collaborating with local schools or travel teams or other trainers would increase reach and credibility as a business. And our fifth goal, like overarching goal, is to improve retention and loyalty. We want to increase customer lifetime value by offering exclusive memberships and loyalty rewards and personalized training experiences so that more customers stay.
Target market occurs to local schools from the community, some teams, and obviously anybody that's around the area that wants individual practice. Teams that train specifically at the facility is Pack Baseball, which is a travel team that runs through that facility. Koya Baseball, Wicked Softball, Oak Park River Forest High School Baseball, Devil Softball, and then River Forest Youth Baseball Softball.
All right, when we get into their customer persona and market segmentation, when we were talking with them, their main goal is youth. Obviously, having a smaller facility, when you have smaller people in the facility, like youth kids, it's easier for them to run around and make use of the space, whereas when you have college kids coming in, it's kind of like you have to have smaller groups and stuff like that, just because of the space that they're going to take up. So the demographic, it's mainly targeted at youth, so that would be like our 12 to 18, but it also very much, I mean, we use the facility, so that fits into that 18 to 24, like teen to older adult segment, and even people who are outside are free to use it. Male and female, softball, baseball, if you're just there to use like weight room or anything, obviously that appeals to both sides of that demographic. Location, River Forest, surrounding areas. Obviously people aren't going to travel too far to use a facility like this, but I mean anywhere 30 minutes, 40 minutes might be pushing it. But definitely the River Forest area as a whole. When we get into interest a little bit of who our customers are and what they like to do, looking for people who are, you want them to be passionate, obviously. You want the environment inside the facility to be, you want a good environment, surround yourself with good people because that overall, impacts you, whether you know it or not. So we're looking for people who are motivated, driven by what they do, so you can create just a really good atmosphere. When we're looking at goals, this kind of taps into the customers more a little bit. We're looking for people who, want to perform at a high level, want to stay active, really buy into what the trainers are, giving them. It's not just like a yeah, whatever. You really want to create that relationship space like we talked about earlier, busy schedules. Obviously, when you have kids in school till 3 p.m. and then, you know, parents might be working till 5, that really narrows your window where they can get to a facility and train. You're also looking at expenses. In this day and age, everything's getting more and more expensive. If you're looking to utilize a space, like a rental fee, that could also be a downside.
Finally, we have our positioning statement, and it reads, Victory Sports Club provides elite sports training and fitness programs for athletes of all ages in River Forest and surrounding areas. As a premier athletic development facility, we offer expert coaching, state-of-the-art equipment, and personalized training programs designed to enhance performance, build confidence, and prevent injuries. Unlike other fitness centers, Victory Sports Club focuses on a comprehensive approach to athletic development, helping individuals reach their full potential on and off the field. And this statement defines the target audience, the market, our unique value proposition, and reasons of doing that.
Any questions or comments? Hey, what's that location again? The location?
It's right off of Madison Street, like 8 minutes away.
Okay, east of Harlem or west of Harlem?
I don't know directions like that.
Yeah, you gotta check it out.
The play it again is like, you see play it again, it's behind.
Right behind. So the Play It Again Sports, is it actually integrated into Victory?
So the owner, he owns Play Again Sports, and he's also like, if you want to say like on the board or whatever, he's like the coach. So he pretty much like owns both of them, so that kind of helps when they do demo days and stuff. You get people on the business side, but also like the facility side.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just thinking like, how could that, you know, kind of contribute to getting more business? Like maybe having package deals to where you get some of the equipment along with the, you know, training and all of that stuff, like different tiers, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then that way you kind of force out some of the product from Play It Again into like Victory and vice versa, or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know if that would be something to look into. Yeah, looks great. I was thinking, they have two different tunnels. Are they soundproof? Or like, you know, if we get 2 sessions going at the same time, or am I hearing baseball's on the other side too?
Yeah, so they're like right next to each other. Obviously they're divided by the 2 nets, but
Okay.
it's not too much of it. That's like how every facility would
Yeah.
usually.
Okay. All right, excellent. Great job, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's challenging. You figured Chicago weather, you know, like how does the income look during cold season? Put your limit on space. Do they use any of the rooftop? Is it a flat roof?
No, they don't. I don't think that's within their. I don't know how well the building is like. I don't know how
Can
they
handle something. I was thinking like,
Yeah.
what can go up there, like
I see what you're
maximizing
saying.
the space or whatever. All right, great. Yeah, thanks, you guys. You need to get out of here.
Thank you.
All right, great presentation. I'll lecture just a little bit, and then we'll have maybe a second group here. Guys, ready to go in a few. I'll lecture a little bit. Okay. See ya. All right, so last class we said, hey, there's product line. What's the product line? Similar products that's targeting kind of similar type of customers, right? You have multiple ones, right? Those are different from each other. So you have potato chip lines of Doritos. So Doritos could be your product line, and there's Cool Ranch Doritos, regular Doritos, hot Doritos, etc. Right? And you have Cheetos. Cheetos would be a different product line, right? Flat hot Cheetos, regular Cheetos, etc. Right? So you can kind of go unlimited, right? Depending on what it is you're selling. So we say the depth. How many types of Doritos in that line? That'd be the product depth. How far does it go? Product width. Well, how many lines do we have, right? We have Cheetos, Doritos, all sorts of other things. Each with their own different strategy, targeting different customers for different reasons. And now we're at product life cycle. Where we say, hey, all things are born and they die eventually, right? What happens? Well, the world changes. Tastes and preferences changes. All sorts of changes happen, right? May not last forever. Apple, iPhones probably won't be forever. There's something else that replaces it. Right? Things evolve. Right? Even when it comes to social media, right? TikTok. I don't know what's next after TikTok. Right? Maybe our intentions would be so bad it'd be like 3-second blurred little videos, and that's all we can handle with our bad intentions. Right? Things change, things die out. But at different stages, you have different strategies, right? So you say just because we're in different stage, it doesn't stop the show. We don't stop trying to innovate and improve and make changes. We just adapt new strategies. We figure out some things about what's going on. But let's look at product life cycle. Let's say introduction. When you first introduce a product, you have a great idea, a great service, a great product. Probably one of your main goals is like, hey, we need to spread it out everywhere so people know about it. Right? It's a great idea to you as an owner, as an employee, or whatever, but if nobody knows about it, it's pointless, right? So you want to build awareness at the beginning, which is why you see, if you see like a new food chain restaurant, you will start to see like, whoa, they got like 150 stores in like 6 months. Like, how did they get so many stores? They're in the malls, they're on the highway. Why are they doing that? Like, are they gonna lose money? Are they gonna crash? It's not a lot of expenses. How do they know it's all gonna work? Right? Well, that's the strategy. Your strategy is to have presence, right? Be everywhere so that they're known. They'll figure out later all the profit. Right? We don't have a profit yet, but we can sell the fact that we have 150 stores now, and we have exposure to investors, right, and other people, banks are like, well, that's great news. We think that you'll be successful. Here's another $500 billion to expand it. Right? So it can work. Here to give an example of electric vehicles, right? That's not a perfect sort of product, right? Like battery technology is not there. The infrastructure for charging technology not there, but that's besides the point. The point is just to make everybody aware of it first, right? And then we'll lower the price, make it affordable for everybody, and come up with trucks, right, and all sorts of things. Growth. All right, so now you've got the exposure, you've got the awareness, people know you're there, you have a ton of stores, locations, people involved, advertisements, etc. And now it's starting to increase, right? People are consuming the product or the service. What happens then? Where we like help, guess what? Competitors are observing it. People who want to enter that market, they didn't think electric vehicles would work. Elon, right? If we're GM, if we're Mercedes, if we're BMW, if we're Toyota, it's like, we don't think that'll work. Let's stick with what we do best, right? Internal combustion engines, infrastructure. Pull up to the gas station and keep going. Don't need to stand there and charge for 35 minutes. We don't think it'll work. We don't think people will like this. Apartment buildings don't have charging stations. A lot of homes have to buy that extra. It's just not gonna work. What happens is, it starts to work, right? You're like, oh crap, hey, we need to get on it. It's working, there's a demand for it, right? So if we're GM, if we're Ford, if we're Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, we need to come with electric versions of our vehicle, right? We need to copy some of the things of what's working, right? But add our own little flair, our own little image and branding and technology. And then you mature. You say, well, okay, now it's a mature market. Mature market just means things are slowing down. People know it exists. People have been buying the product. It's not a big deal as much as it used to be, right? So profitability levels tend to taper off, such as like the M&Ms. They just give a can, right? Yeah, we know it's there, but honestly, there's so many options. You may not buy M&Ms. Right? Some of y'all go, I want M&Ms. You go there and look at 1,000 of the candy bars and stuff like that. I can get candies, right? So it's just a lot of options. Like the market can be saturated, it's a mature market. I'll go with maybe whatever's cheapest today, right? The decision making changes. So you gotta come up with new strategies too, right? And then lastly, we have decline, significant sales and profitability decline. They mentioned the Amazon Kindle, I think we talked about that last class. You lost. You didn't innovate. It was a great product at one point in time. Your competitors have beat you. You lost the game. Right? So time to pull out, figure out what to do. Liquidate the assets, sell it off to another company or some private equity group. That's that. I think we talked about that. Okay, so what are some strategies? So in the introduction stage, we have a rapid skimming strategy, right? This is to set a high price and extensive advertising sales promotion. You make, hey, we need to set the bar. We're introducing a product, when it's set the bar. What's the bar? The bar is what we think we should sell this product for, which is it's going to be an expensive product. We want people to believe it's an expensive product. We want to, in the minds, have that to be the perception of what we are offering. So one strategy is to make it very expensive, right? Make it expensive and spend all the money on advertising, promoting it everywhere possible, seeing if people like it. Right? Or you can have a slow skimming strategy, set high prices and low advertising and sales promotion investment. Maybe it's a very luxurious product, so it has to be expensive for it to be worthwhile. But now you spend all your money on sort of into the product itself, right? The cost of goods sold. And now you don't have that money for having much money for sales promotion and advertising and stuff like that. So you scale back. Just kind of maybe let it speak for itself. Then you get rapid penetration, low price strategy that is appropriate when volume sales will increase market share quickly. Right? So it's kind of just a cheap, quick and cheap entry into the market. Make it really cheap so people can want to buy it and buy it a lot, right? Because they're tuned to sort of the economics of it. And just push it out there as much as possible so we can grab market share, so we can be the market leader in that category. And then there's a slow penetration pricing strategy, right? Capture share and establish low everyday price in markets where promotion is not effective. Slow and steady but cheap. You're like, hey, marketing is not really effective over here. Just because you promote something in advertising, people don't care. All they care about is how much it costs. Right? So you kind of focus on that everyday low price. With rapid penetration pricing strategies, like you can change your price later on. But maybe for right now, it's just cheap. Maybe later on, when people start noticing it, buying it, you may change your price at a later date. At the growth stage, we maximize share, market share, improve quality. So we start having more assets, whether it's people, it's management, it's building, it's distribution, it's logistics, right? We improve the quality of the product. We get competitors. Obviously, they may try to beat us out on quality. So we have to sort of assign some money there. Add new features, right? People get bored with the same old product. So you have to constantly make something different about it over time. Exhibit continuous improvement, expand distribution, right? So you expand the distribution. You kind of place it everywhere imaginable that you can. And shift the message from awareness to preference. This is a big one. This is like, hey, once again, perception. In the mind of consumers, you just don't want to make people aware. Just because they're aware doesn't mean they'll buy it. You want to make it the preference over all other alternatives. With some sort of message. Why buy us versus them, right? Okay, now we'll get into maturity and decline after our next presentation. So we'll have second group here come up with their presentation.
sell a lot of merch and a lot of stuff to help bring awareness and make money to, in turn, do a lot of the free work that we do in these impact zones. And so, target market identification is generally passionate volleyball enthusiasts from any background. So, as you can see from the previous photos, like the one over here, that's from India, where recently the founder went out to India and helped provide access to a very poor school in I forget what city or what town, but there they got a bunch of stickers. They built a bunch of volleyball courts there for them. But it's not only that, like because it's in India, but like even if you're an athlete in Chicago from an underserved community who doesn't have the access to like play club volleyball, or even their high school doesn't have the opportunity to play volleyball, we just want to reach out to those people and show them that they can also play as well.
For our customer persona, it's mainly people that want to play volleyball at a higher level, so it's gonna be college, pro, or just for fun. Most people like to play volleyball, but they don't have enough like resources. And then they want one-on-one coaching from an ex-pro volleyball player and a high level coach, and then they support my top volleyball costs.
Yeah, and here's our positioning statement. Let's Out Volleyball is a nonprofit organization committed to breaking barriers in sport volleyball. We believe every athlete, regardless of background or financial status, deserves the opportunity to play, grow, and excel. Through accessible programs, community support, and developmental resources, we create pathways for aspiring players to thrive. Unlike traditional volleyball organizations, we prioritize inclusivity, ensuring that costs and opportunity gaps never stand in the way of passionate athletes reaching their full potential. And like most sports, gaining access to play it can be pretty expensive. And we take a lot of routes that makes it very accessible for people. And one of the places where we shine is through the form of grass volleyball, because it's really easy, really cheap to just set up a bunch of nets and then have people come by and play some volleyball. So, yeah.
All right, excellent. Hey, quick question. So I know the founder is located here in Wrigleyville, right?
He lives in Weston.
He's in West Loop. Has he targeted like maybe CPS schools, charter schools, or other schools in Chicago that don't actually have like volleyball teams to help them like develop teams? You know that?
I know there's a project that's starting to work out for like the CPS programs specifically, and I mean for the most part, the way it's grown is like we have to reach out to the ones who have the programs already, and then from there, like we're planning on like a grass volleyball pickup thing going on, and then these other schools will start picking up interest and it goes from there.
Excellent. Great job, dude. Okay, so what is our next stage? Maturity stage and decline, right? I always say, hey, at maturity, the market is kind of settled. People are not really that impressed with that particular segment or product or service, but still making a ton of revenue, right? Pretty good income stream. But say you need a new strategy, right? You may need market modification, involve extension of the product to new customers and reposition the product and introduce to new customers. What are some products or services that you can think of that are mature? Maybe some attempts to reach new customers with some strategy. You think of it? hey, Burger King has been up for quite some time. We all know what Burger King is. We all know kind of its price point. And I already know what to expect. So what does Burger King do at this point? Well, they see that people are more health conscious, right? Fitness oriented, healthy eating. So how far can you stretch that with the Burger King operation? Impossible. Burger might be the way to go. You may not have a full vegetarian vegan menu because it may not be possible, it may not be profitable. Or it may cannibalize other products which you already sell, which will hurt the bottom line as well too. So Burger King's trying to reach out to those who still like Burger King, still like burgers, but want the perception, right? Impossible Burger, you're like, I don't know, that's an abstract concept, right? Or, you know, what's it? I know White Castles has one for it. They're like, hey, people do like the perception that they're eating better even though they eat fast food, that they made a healthier option, even though it is a McDonald's or Burger King or White Castle. You have your hand up? Someone? Here's another example. Right, okay, product modification, right? Altering products to fit the market, modifications may be made to the function of the product, right? Modification may be made to the quality of the product. Right? You can all new and improved, better quality solution to some degree. Maybe you increase the price a little bit with that quality so you can maintain your market share. Or the style of the product. We say things change. What could be an example of a style modification for some mature products out there? You just change and modify the style of that product or the service or something. Yes.
I guess maybe the optional, I guess it's really like the home one.
Yeah.
Make it more, I guess, instead.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, we went from thumb verification. People like us annoying, thumb things taking up 10% of the screen. Please erase that. Okay, well, how do we erase that? Well, we could do facial recognition, right? You're like, okay, that's cool, but they're still taking up some screen space. I want all that screen space, right? You're trying to find new ways to still have some sort of facial recognition while doing that.
I was thinking like Jordans, because it's not like revolutionizing shoes, but they're really popular and they come out with like different styles and different like collaborations to like stay popular.
Yeah, you're like with Jordans, Michael Jordan capitalized on the market as a market leader with the Jordan 1s, the original classic Jordans, right? Revolutionary in the marketing and how we perceive athletic footwear, sports footwear. Beyond that, you're like, hey, you know what? The brand kind of sells itself. The fact that it's Jordans will sell because it's Jordan. Now you may like the Jordan 10s, the 13s, the 21s, the 25s, whatever the case may be. You just come up with new colorways and designs. So you change the style, basically. You change the design of the shoe, but you still may have to make it look like a Jordan. Right? You're like, well, what does a Jordan shoe look like? It has some sort of abstract form to it to some degree that makes it a Jordan, that makes it not something else. Same goes with Adidas, same goes with Puma. Puma shoes look like Pumas. You just kind of recognize it by its form. Reeboks look like Reeboks, kind of maybe a wider toe, how the sole is. Nikes, I think Nikes look like Nikes. Especially in different categories. What's the ones I always buy? 270s or something like that. So you just change the style of the product, right? But you maybe keep the quality, use the brand imaging, and you keep kind of the form of the perception of it. All right, and then in the decline stage, right? You got to start divesting of involves either selling a brand or discontinuing it to protect the rest of the company's portfolio. We say at this point, it's about holding on to as much money as possible. We did have 150 stores because we had this expansion strategy. Now we got 140 stores that lose money. And we're paying rent, electricity, insurance, people that work there, et cetera, et cetera. What do we do? Like, maybe we bundle it up in a big package to sell to some real estate investors, some developers, private equity group. It's usually private equity groups. It's usually a group of investors, private equity group, will come and say, hey, we want to get this company for pennies on the dollar because you're failing. We want to put it into a form of bankruptcy, so we don't have to really pay your debts, right? We'll pay a fraction of your debts. We'll rebrand the product some way. Maybe we'll reinvest and make it nice and better to some degree, maybe we won't. An example of that, you would think that most of these companies own themselves, like AMC, the movie theater, and things like that. But most, not most, but a lot of companies are owned by private equity groups. Right? It's an investment group that buy and sell companies, right? When I was, starting my stuff, not only did I do real estate investment, I have a private equity firm which says I buy companies, I buy startups. With that, I want 51% or more interest, but I get a say-so on how we going to market, brand, do business, etc. The same goes for very large companies, right? So at AMC movie theater, we're like, hey, you know what? People stopped going to the movies maybe 10, 15 years ago. Why? The streaming, that's when the streaming platforms kind of came out and really did their things. People were like, why are the movies when I can stay home and brand new movies are being put on the streaming platform? There's no need to physically go to this giant theater, right? Pay all this money, what, $20 to get in, maybe more, like $30 for the popcorn, soda, chocolate. Right, it's too expensive. It just don't make sense anymore. So people stop going. Right? So they had to figure out a way, like, hey, what do we do? Okay, do we just shut down AMC and all these other movie companies, right? Magic Johnson, former basketball player, one of these groups that bought into it. They say, no, we gotta change the experience. Let's get 4D, right? Immersive experience, make the chairs vibrate, if there's sound, if there's sheets. Make it dine in, people can sit and dine in real food. You're like, oh, well, people want real food. That's what they would do if they would eat at home. So have them be able to sit in and order from the chair, right? Or order before they would go into the theater on hamburgers or fries or chicken sandwiches, all that sort of stuff, right? So they can up the price, make people spend more so that it's profitable to a degree. But then you say, hey, there's just too many locations, let's get rid of those locations and keep the ones that matter, and the major places that people like to go see movies. Now we got AMC still around, right? Because at some point it's gonna go away. We no longer have Kmart, we no longer have Sears. When I was growing up, Kmart and Sears were big, huge. They were Walmart and Target, essentially. Right? They got replaced with Walmart and Target for the most part. And you say, well, why did you replace Walmart and Target? Well, the stores weren't as great. They had good products, but the stores were not bright. It just didn't feel as inviting. It didn't feel like a great shopping experience, but it was more like a neighborhood. But now at Target's different from Walmart. Walmart's dim. Target's not. Target is bright. The color red, we say red is an energetic color. It makes you alert, psychologically and physiologically. So it does something to you. Walmart is not so much. Walmart is about open space, having space to move around. It's about moving a lot of people through and keeping it really, really simple. Target is more about, say, bougie chic, right? We call it Target. They want to feel like you got a fancy schmancy table with lamp and clothes. Okay. We wouldn't expect that from Walmart. hard target. And then harvesting involves reducing all unnecessary expenses to retain any remaining revenue. Often the product is then divested, right? So once again, you just remove the waste, keep the things that work, but eventually those things, the market may not respond to those things as well too, so you just have to liquidate the assets as much as possible. But think about that, there's big money in it. You like, if you owned, let's say you did have 150 stores and they were standalone stores, meaning like you didn't pay a landlord rent, you actually had a lease, you actually had a mortgage, like, man, that real estate is probably the biggest asset possible, right? Like, let's sell $500 million worth of real estate. Let's sell $250 worth of equipment. That's enough over, right? What about the people? Like, start firing off people, lay them off, fire, get rid of them, because really at that point it's just about the real estate and maybe the equipment and things of that nature. And then beyond that, you may sell off either the rights, the intellectual property, the patents, et cetera, et cetera. You sell the business off altogether at a discount. Okay, our next group, right here, right? Sorry, at the top, that's HDMI on the screen. This